So here's the experiment I did, and which is making a shock absorber using magnetic repulsion. For a little introduction, most of us are familiar with magnets. We use them to hold something on the board, on the fridge, and more. It is also unique that when faced with same poles, they repel to each other. So I thought of creating a shock absorber using this system and dropping objects with different masses at different heights. So here my hypothesis. So I think the taller the container is dropped from, the more force the magnet is going to absorb, which results in a greater change in height. Similarly, the greater the container's mass, the greater the change in height. So for the experiment setup, I made this homemade experiment setup. I'm using like wood and also like stuff from the store and using magnets and containers. So so in here, there's this magnet called neodymium magnet, which are known for having a strong magnetic field. And so I decided to drop the container over here through the pole and trying to like trying to find the change in height by looking at this measure. So I decided to do two experiments. The one is for mass and the other is for height. So for mass experiment, I decided to draw containers at the same height, which is 15 centimeters from here to here, from here, and dropping objects with different masses, which is 10 grams, 20 grams, 30 grams, 40 grams, and 50 grams. So yeah, so let me demonstrate. So you can see, just dropping it and trying to find the change in height by looking at the measure right here. So yeah, I did that and I took a video, slowed it down using a website called Tracker Online, and find the change in height. And I decided to do this procedure 3 times to find the average value for each of them. And for the other experiment I did was for height. And it's basically dropping a container with same mass, which is 10 grams, but at different heights, which is 5 centimeters, 10 centimeters, 15 centimeters, 20 centimeters, and 25 centimeters. So I decided to do that. I decided to do basically the same thing and slow it down using a tracker online and find the average value for each height. So here's the observation and data. So here's me using a website called Tracker Online to slow down the video I took and trying to find a change in height by looking at the measure right here. So yeah. For the results for a mass experiment, I decided to plot it on graph with x-axis being the gram and y-axis being the change in height in millimeters. And so when plotted on graph from 10 grams to 30 grams, the slope remains constant, but starting from 40 grams, the slope seems to be decreasing. So here's the results for the height experiment, and with x-axis being the height the objects being dropped from in centimeters, and y-axis being the change in height in millimeters. So there's like a little increase in height overall, but at 15 centimeters, for some reason, the change in height seems to be decreasing. I'm not sure why, but overall the graph seems to be increasing. Yeah. So here's my conclusion. My hypothesis was mostly correct, even though the outcome was quite unexpected. Overall, the change in height seems to be increasing. However, the slope on the graph seems to be decreasing, which could be due to the magnet's strong repelling force when both poles are close together. So here's the reference I use. I use the tracker online, and I use this line chart website to create the graph. Thank you so much.